Good morning, welcome to the Alpha Female Lounge in Asaki Online. My name is Pamela Mpofu and I am your host. On the show, we discuss a variety of issues that affect young women, but we also take into consideration the women around the area that are creating great strides in social change and trying to uplift young women as well. Today's guest is no stranger to this show because we've had her during the inception of the Alpha Female Lounge. She came on the show to tell us about her story on child marriages. Today, she's on the show to tell us about her foundation that she founded to assist young women and promote young women as well. This is no other than Farai Magada, popularly known as Farai Jules. Farai, welcome back to the show again.
Hey Pam, how are you?
I'm good. It's so good to have you back on the show.
It is, hey.
Okay, so from the last time that we saw you, you were telling us your story on what happened when you were younger, and from there you went and you founded your own organization called the Pink and Purple Foundation. Can you tell us what prompted you to start your own organization?
Honestly, it felt as if something was about to be born in me. Like I have to put it in there, because over and over again I'll be like, you know what? There's somebody out there that's going through this, and of which the girls are not reaching out. Of course, other women would come in my inbox. They'll talk to me like, you know, Farai, how did you survive this? How did you go about this? Can't you share your story like on a bigger platform? And can you help other women that are going through this but are silent about this? And I was like, I don't really know. But I was a bit scared though. And I was like, I know the work is a lot. And I don't even know where to start. Like, honestly, I didn't. Then I thought, you know what? How do I put this together? That's the first thing I had to ask myself, how? And then obviously there is always that people having to advise you, why don't you direct it in this way? Why don't you direct it in that way? And then obviously there's a friend of mine who always was sure she has her own thing going on. And then she's like, you know what, why don't you structure it in this way? And whenever you want to choose a name, you choose a name according to what you believe in and what you think is the right name. I was like, all right, not a problem. So when I was now thinking, I was like, you know what? I'll call it the Pink and Purple Foundation, obviously after my daughters, and and because they both love pink and purple. No, the three of them love pink and purple, so it's quite interesting how I had to choose the name. And then I thought, all right, now let me start, you know, putting across the message like, listen, this is exactly what is happening. There's things that are being swept under the carpet. There's things that can't be said. There's a lot of women struggling and fighting, like they just don't know who to talk to and how to get help. Then I was like, you know what, I'll be the one that's going to be the mouthpiece. I'm going to be the one that holds their hands and says, you know what, it's going to be okay. If you want to open up and talk about this, it's still okay. Let's do this. And then we find a way to get out of it, you know, and heal. Because we don't want a nation that has women that don't have anybody to hold their hands and say, you know what, it's okay. We're going to get over this. It's all right.
Yeah, so you mentioned that after you came out with your story, people were coming to you. Let's just quickly digress a bit. And it's just the fact that obviously there was a bit of negative feedback. How did you get to a point where you told yourself, even if there are some people who have their own opinions about my story, I will still not stop trying to help other people?
The negativity actually came from my family. It actually didn't come from anybody else, just my family. But of course, with the people that were growing up with me during that time, it was always, Farai, I didn't know you actually went through this. You know, we were there, but we're not 100% involved. And some of us wanted to, you know, not be involved in your situation. And we didn't want to be a part of it. But then the negativity was on my family side. But then later on, we actually had to reconcile. It wasn't easy, because it was my mom, there was my sister, there was my dad. It was so divided. And I was like to myself, it's all right. I spoke my story, I spoke my truth. They are also allowed to stand up on a platform and say, you know what, this is my story too. This is my side of the story. And I'm not going to stop anybody from speaking their side of the story. There was a lot of hate. A lot of people are saying whatever they wanted, you know. Relatives calling me left, right, and center. And I thought, it's okay. But the beautiful part about it is, I felt that the last part of my healing was already done. Because I felt, you know, I had already forgiven my parents a long time ago. A very, very long time ago, and I had moved on from it. But then I still had questions of why did that happen? And I was happy that I finally got a chance to talk to my dad. And he came through in December and I'd say, Daddy, but why don't you fight for me? And he was like, you know what? During that time, things were different. And I'm sorry that I didn't fight for you. It was very emotional, honestly. And I think it actually made me bond with my father a bit more. whereby we really spent a lot of time together, and he opened up to me about a lot of things, and I understood his side of the story, and I was like, you know what, it's okay. Though with my mom, though, it was a bit hard because I could see her pride all over her, and I'm like, it's okay, mom, it's all right. The explanation wasn't as good as, but I said, you know what, what's important is I forgave her. Forgiveness is not about her, it's about me. I needed to heal. I was bitter, I was angry. That last part of confronting somebody that had hurt me for years had finally come. And then the door and the chapter was now closed. And I was like, you know what, this is a new chapter in my life. Who is next? It's the other woman that is in the situation and needs somebody to help her. And I cannot speak of healing and letting go and reconciliation if I didn't have to walk through that journey and actually have it in full and say, you know what, we can get over this, we can get through this if I didn't have to walk my journey.
Which is really beautiful, and I'm really glad that you and your family have reconciled. And now back to our issue. Your organization is built on the 5 pillar sustainable goals. Can you elaborate further on that and why you chose to build it on that?
Well, first one being not to poverty, and then there's equality, and then there's quality education, and then there's also climate change, and then there's actually equality itself. And when I look at all those 5. When I look at those 5, it's what's the right word? I feel like they're all interconnected. And when I look at climate change and poverty, I mean, it's something that is contributing to poverty. And the women are the ones that are affected the most, who are most vulnerable, you know. And then we also look at the equality part. The equality is not being exercised. Like, oh yeah, she's a girl. That's when the child marriages come in. Like she's forced into marriage, or circumstances forcing that child to get into marriage because of poverty and ignorance, you see. And then there's also the equality in the workplace. Because I'll go back to equality again. Then there's equality in the workplace. There's the women. You have to work more hours like a man, but then at home you still have to work some more, you see. And you get home, you're tired, and there's the children, you have to do everything, and you're not even treated very well in the workplace. There's also that. And then there's also the quality education. With me, I never really had a chance to go back to school and do exactly what I wanted to do. Only when I got out of my marriage, when I said, you know what, now I'm pursuing education. Yeah. And then I was like, with a lot of women, when they're in marriages, it's, no, you can't take this career. You can't be this type of woman. You can't study for this and that. Just because it's not for married women. It's not for certain type of people. It's not for black people. Where are you going to get a job when you do this and that, you know? And then there's climate, because climate change is like the biggest right now. It is the biggest. It's contributing to a lot of factors. Whatever SDG you look at, climate change is, right now is like at the top. And it's contributing mainly to poverty. And poverty, my gosh, it's not something that you can laugh about or smile at. Because I've been in communities where I come out and I sit down and I think, wow, this person really is poor. And I get home, I have my own problems, but I can overcome them. You know, I'm getting over this, but they don't have anybody. They don't have anyone that can say, you know what, you actually have a job. You can actually go to school. Here's a loaf of bread. There's a meal for you to eat and to feed your family. And even the vegetables outside, they're not growing just because of the situation, you know. For some reason, the weather's also contributing to it, number one. Number two, there's also the atmosphere in the home. It's just not going to work, you see. So it's really sad, hey.
So your main target is to eliminate harmful practices affecting young women. So what approach are you using to achieve or obtain this goal?
Well, first things first, there's the workshops. With awareness, they always say knowledge is power, but I always say information is power. Because you get information first, you need to disseminate it and then understand it. It becomes power only when you understand it. It can be there floating around, but you go to a workshop, you give somebody information, someone can just look at it and go, whatever. Because even if I tell you something about something and you're not really interested in it, it's never power for you. You'll be like, whatever. So we start with our workshops. It has to be information that is well disseminated and becomes knowledge being power, and then also practicing it. So with the workshops, we go to the poor communities. We do teach the girls, like, you know what, this is exactly what is going on. This is exactly what is happening. In as much as somebody's hiding in the corner and is shying away, because sometimes when you go for workshops, you see the girls shying away, you know, like, okay, I am a victim to this. But she can stand up and speak and say, you know what, these harmful practices, there's young women that are being exploited, there's young girls that are being forced into marriage, there's young girls that are being forced to, working at a very young age. And you ask yourself, but somebody's not talking about this, which means it's wrong. But if she's talking about this, which means it is actually wrong, and I need to stand up, and I feel protected after that. With just not just the workshops, we also make sure that the girls also they empowered too, because you also need to make a choice that I also want to go back to school. I also want to do something for my family. I also want to do something for my child. I want to do something for myself, because everything starts with you. Because it's an internal job, having to work on yourself before you start working on the next person, and also working on the next and the next and the next.
Okay, so can you take us through some of the work that you've done? We've seen on social media, you guys going to different places. We've seen you in Bandeni, we've seen you even locally. Can you take us through some of the work that you guys have done so far?
All right. So far so good. We went to Ngozi Mine, because I kind of feel as if that's where it is for me the most.
Yeah.
And even when I'm sitting at home, I just think, my gosh, those people there, somebody there is struggling, someone is going through something, and their faces haunt me. And the situation it actually haunts me when I'm all alone in my bed and thinking at home. First things first, we've had campaigns for sanitary wear, but we obviously to curb period poverty. We've done that in Pumula as well, and also in Ngozi Mine. We're supposed to touch on Kabacha, but of which we said, no, can you just wait a bit and try to focus on at least 2 areas. We went to Mpandeni. We had something to do with career, and also the girls having to understand who they are as women, because it was on Women's Day. So there's a lot going on with us being women, and also issues to do with curbing period poverty. But I didn't go there alone though. I was with other organizations, and a very good friend of mine, she was also with me, and it was her birthday. She said, you know what? I think we need to do something that's going to have a really big impact when it comes to the community. And I said, you know what, you're actually right, because this is really needed, and somebody needs to get this message that, you know what, there is child marriages, number 1. Number 2, it starts with you. You need to understand your rights. You need to know yourself as a woman, as a young woman. You need to know when to say no and when to say yes, because that's where the power comes in. Of course, we have a lot in the pipeline, honestly, like a lot is coming up.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So you also focus on women of all ages to break the broken woman cycle. Can you elaborate further on that?
Well, the word broken woman is like very broad, because the moment we talk about broken women, we always think it's about just being abused only. There's more to it than just being called a broken woman. Yes, abuse does break women. Like for generations and generations, we've seen broken women dying in silence. Then being told, no, you know what, that's exactly how life is supposed to be like. Oh, no, you don't speak up about such things. Just die in your silence and your shame, With the brokenness, it comes with being broken by societal norms, by even your own family. And you can also break yourself by your own thoughts. Before we even go to the man himself, we want to start with the family, and then also go with the societal norms, you growing up. You start getting broken bit by bit. By the time you're already grown up, you realize, oh snap, I'm already broken. Then you get into a relationship that's going to actually break you some more. You see, and even more situations that are actually going to break you down even more. Then you're like, but how come I didn't know about all this, and I'm such a broken person? How come I keep attracting terrible people and into my life and having terrible situations happening to me over and over again? You don't realize that the cycle started when you were young. And you're put in a little template, like this is how it's supposed to be, this is how you're supposed to live your life. You don't talk about this, you don't talk about that. And the breaking starts from there. You can start with, this one with a very big nose, and that's self-esteem being broken slowly. Yeah. To your family teasing. School, you get teased about your toes. I also have my own insecurities. When I start bringing them out, someone will be like, oh, I actually didn't know you're like that, Farai, I mean, it starts from there. And then I'm just going to start with my hair. I never grew my hair because my hair was so kinky. Like my self-esteem was on a zero and came to my hair. My sisters have beautiful hair, curly, nice hair. And then I had the kinky hair. Then my mom was like, I'm not going to plait this hard Mashona hair. It was really bad, So I started having self-esteem issues. Like, I don't grow my hair because my hair is ugly. My hair is not pretty. There was that. So it was me being broken first. And I didn't realize that. When I grew older, I was like, but the hair's not bad, you know. It's not bad. But then I had to like really work on that. But then self-esteem was broken somewhere in the pipeline. So there's that, you being broken. Then there's women that when they grow up, it's, oh yeah, Mina, my husband hits me. But maybe it actually is a cycle started at home with a very abusive mom, or should I say a strict mother and a strict father. You get beaten up and you think it's okay to always be beaten up. And you can't speak out and say, listen, do not do this to me. It's not okay.
Okay. That is very interesting, because I feel like it's one of those things that bother us as people, but we always overlook them. You are still tuned into the Alpha Female Lounge and the Sakio Lala. And today we have Farai again telling us about her foundation and the work that they do. For those who have watched, you've probably seen her before on the show where she came to tell us a story. And she's telling us how she used her experiences to try, and how she's still trying to uplift other young women and other women as well, by trying to break cycles that affect us as people in Zimbabwe and around. So period poverty, we touched on it a bit, that it's one of the biggest challenges that we're having. What are some of the long-term solutions that because we do see people going out to give pads, but these are not long-lasting solutions. What are some of the long-lasting solutions that can be implemented to make sure that girls are not succumbing to period poverty?
Well, first things first, teaching the girls how to make their own pads. Proper pads, as in reusable pads. Because you know what? It's always, there's a sanitary pad that you buy in the shop and then you have to dispose it. Yeah. But then that's not actually 100% of a lasting problem. A solution, should I say. Yeah. But it's still, the problem is still going on. Because she can make the pad, then the next girl still needs pads and all that. But it's not 100%. Then there is the issue of the government having to allow, a pink tax to be scratched off our products, or should we say, we need free products when it comes to periods, because it's not our choice for us to go on our periods. I mean, when you grow up and you're a girl, you think everything is normal until you're being told you're going to be a woman, and you think, what's that? You go in the shop and your mom is telling you, oh, that's very expensive to buy, and you look at the price, it is very expensive. I mean, come on, there's a time when you want the luxury sanitary way, but they say sanitary way, but it's still expensive. Even the cheap one that you say is affordable, it's still expensive. There's the pink tax, but hey, we need it for free. I'm not going to say girls that are over a certain age, because we can say, okay, if you're not over 18 or you're not over 25, you can now get what? Free sanitary wear. Still, at 25, some women are not even working. They're still dependent. Some women don't even know what a pad looks like, and it's not okay. We're supposed to have this for free. You're supposed to be told that now there's it's not supposed to be an organization. You should actually be there. At the clinics, you go, you get it. At school, a girl needs to have a sanitary way. It's supposed to be for free. That's how it's supposed to be. When that's the case, scratch out that pink tax. We don't want that pink tax. It's expensive on every product.
Which would bring us to, I think, a certain notion we have around the public that says, why are condoms for free, you know? But yet we find that girls not having a choice. You might not have a choice, like you said. It's something that happens and you can't really stop it. Why do we then find condoms for free if we can't find pads for free? What's your take on that notion?
Right. With the condom, first it was to curb, HIV and AIDS and STDs. It was understandable. Yes, the condom was there from the times of the Egyptians. It was there, but then it got modified because of diseases spreading and all that. Yeah. And I understand that part when it comes to disease and preserving life. I understand that part. But people are enjoying sex. But now what about someone who doesn't enjoy having to go on their period? I mean, it has to be for free. I know, what? Pads should be free. Please, no.
That's it. That's it. Nothing else to it. Pads should just be free.
You see, but when it comes to maybe a company that says, ours are more luxurious, they still need to scratch out the pink tax. And that's it. So that it's also affordable. Not too expensive, but affordable. Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about you guys empower women, but it's like we're not one-sided. We're in a communities where we have men. What role do men also have to play here? Because in as much as women can promote other women, we are still going to go back into spaces with men, work, school, wherever. We're still going to have men. What role do the men have to play as well to try and...
I believe that charity begins at home.
Yeah.
If you're a man and there's your mother and there's your sisters, you should always have that empathy. Think of the females in your family first. How are you empowering them? Number one, do you allow them to be who they're supposed to be? Do you stand up for them when a time comes where life says, no, women are not supposed to get this and that. Women are not supposed to do this and that. Because empowerment doesn't start with the physical. It starts in the mind. It's about how you get treated in the home by the male figure in your family. So it starts with the male figure in the family. What are they doing for their sisters? What are they doing for their moms as well? Because guys are closer to their mothers. But for some reason, when he marries or when he gets out there, he treats women in a different way. You see, even in the workplace, even wherever he goes with his friends in the street and at school, it becomes different because now he gets into his little gang, or should I say crowd, where they have to be man, they have to be masculine, So with empowerment, men have to play a very big role by standing up for women as well. Like, listen, this is not the way women are supposed to be treated. Women are supposed to go to school. Women are supposed to have jobs and understand what the SDG of equality is about. Because the first thing people think about equality is, oh my God, a woman wants to be a bull in the house. It's not about that. I mean, there is more to it. That's women having to go to school. Women taking on certain roles when it comes to in sectors of industry, and also women taking on powerful positions. That's also in government as well. And women having to be helped also with chores in the house. Not, that's her job. I'm not going to do this. Yeah. And also issues to do with child marriages. You don't have to be a woman for you to walk that path, but you have to think of your sister, your mother, for you to understand what gender equality really is about. Yeah. It's, when we scream the word gender equality, it's, she wants to be a bull in the house. No, it's not about us wanting to be bulls. We want to be heard. We want our rights to be understood. Like, listen, can things be different for us to live in a world that is female friendly? It's the right term.
Right. I understand. And what are some of the projects that you are working on currently?
Right. The first one is for career guidance. We'll be taking on girls from high schools, like from Form 3 to Form 4 and up to low and upper 6. They're now ready for choosing a career. They now know what they want now. Others don't. Others think, I'm just going to be a teacher, that's it. But there's more to life than that, you see. Like, if you're going to take on a career, what exactly do you want? We're living in a world where things are changing. The world is becoming digital. So you also need to move with the times as well, you see. So with that, girls now need to be empowered today. And also with the empowerment with career guidance, we'll also be talking about the slave queen mentality, having to wait for somebody to do things for you. We're not born with our hands open, are we? We're born with our hands closed, meaning you are meant for something for yourself. You are meant to work for yourself, not to ask, you see. Before you get married or before you get with somebody, what are you bringing on the table as a human? I'm not going to say as a woman, as a human being. If a man can do it in this world, so can you. You don't have to sleep with the man for you to get to where you want to be in life. You need to work. You need to be the person that you've always wanted to be. You know what Steve Harvey says? Think like a man, but you can act like a woman. Of course, you can be graceful like that. More like sting like a bee.
I love this conversation. I don't know. I don't want it to end. I'm like so sad it's about to end. But how do people, for those who want to assist, maybe with your programs, make a donation, how do they reach you?
They can reach me on my phone number, or they can just simply send me an email on farai@pinkandpurplefoundation.com. Yeah.
Okay, so we will put these details right below on the screen so that anyone that wants to help this beautiful and formidable course to assist in any way that they can. And we're really happy that you're doing this. I'm really happy that you're doing this, actually. Thank you so much for joining us today on the show again, and we loved having you. I mean, it was a great conversation.
And thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure for us. You guys have been watching the Alpha Female Lounge on Asaki Online, and you know we discuss all things female. Today on the show, we had the lovely Farai telling us about her Pink and Purple Foundation. Don't forget to find them on social media. And if you wish to make any donations, or if you wish to assist in any of their programs, you can go check the details right below on the screen. Don't forget to go into the comment section and tell us what you think about this beautiful organization, and if you would like to assist, you can also still go in the comment section. If you've missed any episodes from the Alpha Female Lounge, don't forget to go and check them out on YouTube as well as on Facebook. Don't forget to also follow us on Twitter as well as on Instagram. From me and the crew behind the scenes and my lovely guest here, we will see you next week. Goodbye.